The sky over Telari Prime had turned the color of dying embers. Commander Varric of the Telari Defense Fleet stood on the observation balcony of the capital fortress and watched the horizon burn. Smoke curled upward from ruined districts, forming a dark crown over the once beautiful city of Sereths. The war was over. Everyone knew it. For nearly a year the Telari had fought against the Carvax Dominion, an empire of warlike predators who believed conquest was the only law of the universe. World after world had fallen. Now Telari Prime, the last free planet of the Telari species, stood alone. And it would not stand much longer. Varric's comm officer approached quietly. "Commander," she said softly, "Dominion fleets are entering low orbit. Their landing craft will reach the surface in less than 40 minutes. Varric closed his eyes. 40 minutes. 40 minutes until extinction. The Telari were not warriors by nature. Their civilization had been built on diplomacy, trade, and exploration. Their ships had once crossed the stars carrying knowledge, not weapons. But the Carvax did not care about diplomacy. They cared about dominance. And now they had come to claim Telari Prime. Behind Varric, the remaining defenders prepared for their final stand. A few thousand soldiers remained in the capital. Most of their weapons were damaged. Ammunition was scarce. They all knew the truth. This was not a battle. This was a delay. A brief pause before annihilation. Varric looked up at the sky. Carvax warships filled the heavens, massive black shapes blotting out the stars. They looked like predators circling wounded prey. "Commander," the comm officer said quietly, "should we transmit the final evacuation signal?" "There are no ships left," Varric replied. "Then, the surrender code?" Varric stared at the burning skyline. No. The Telari might lose their world. But they would not surrender it. "Signal all units," he said. "We hold the capital until the end." Across the city, Telari soldiers took their positions among shattered towers and barricaded streets. Many of them were young. Too young to die. But none of them ran. The Carvax were already descending. From orbit, thousands of landing craft streaked toward the surface like falling meteors. The invasion had begun. Varric watched them fall. "Prepare orbital cannons," he ordered. The fortress weapons roared. Blue beams tore through the sky, striking several landing ships. 2 exploded. 3 more spiraled into the ocean. But the rest kept coming. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Too many. Varric felt a strange calm settle over him. So this was how their civilization ended. Not with diplomacy. Not with peace. But with fire. He wondered if anyone in the galaxy would remember the Telari after tonight. 20 minutes later, the first Carvax troops landed. The streets erupted into chaos. The invaders were towering creatures covered in dark armor. Their glowing eyes burned with predatory hunger. They moved like beasts. And they fought like monsters. Telari defenders opened fire from rooftops and barricades. Plasma bolts lit the streets. Several Carvax soldiers fell. But more replaced them instantly. The Dominion troops advanced without fear. Without hesitation. They were built for war. The Telari were not. Within minutes, entire districts fell silent. Varric watched the battle through tactical feats. Every report was worse than the last. Western defense line breached. Southern artillery destroyed. Civilians trapped in Sector 9. The capital was collapsing. And the Carvax were moving toward the central fortress. Toward him. 15 minutes later, Varric's comm officer spoke again. Her voice trembled. "Commander, Dominion assault forces are 2 kilometers from the fortress." Varric nodded slowly. "Then it's time." He activated the fortress-wide broadcast channel. "Soldiers of Telari Prime," he began. His voice echoed across the city. "This is Commander Varric. I will not lie to you. Our defenses are failing. Our fleets are gone. And the enemy will reach this fortress soon." He paused. "But today we do not fight for victory. We fight for memory. So that the galaxy will know the Telari did not fall quietly. We stood. We resisted. And we faced extinction with courage." Around the city, Telari soldiers listened in silence. Some gripped their weapons tighter. Others simply looked toward the sky. Varric ended the broadcast. The fortress cannons continued firing. But the Carvax were closing in. 10 minutes later, the first Dominion troops reached the outer walls. Explosions shook the fortress. Defense turrets were ripped apart. Carvax warriors climbed the broken battlements like predators scaling a cliff. Varric drew his sidearm. If the fortress fell, he would fight in the streets. If the streets fell, he would fight in the halls. If the halls fell, he would fight until his last breath. Then something strange happened. The sky changed. At first, no one noticed. The battle was too chaotic, too loud. But slowly, Telari soldiers began to look upward, because something new was entering the atmosphere. Hundreds of objects, then thousands. They streaked across the sky like blazing comets. Varric frowned. They were not Carvax ships. They were too small, too fast. His comm officer gasped. "Commander, new orbital signatures detected." "Dominion reinforcements?" he asked. "No." Her eyes widened. "These ships are unknown." Above the planet, the Carvax fleet also noticed. Their commanders scanned the incoming objects. They expected missiles or debris. Instead, their sensors detected thousands of compact drop pods entering the atmosphere at extreme velocity. The Dominion admiral frowned. "What are those?" Then the pods opened. Back on the surface, the sky exploded with fire. Metal capsules tore through the clouds and slammed into the city like thunderbolts. They crashed into streets, onto rooftops, through the ruins of shattered towers. For a moment, the battlefield froze. Everyone stared. Even the Carvax paused, because the pods were opening. Steam hissed. Metal doors slammed outward, and figures stepped out. Tall figures. Armored figures. Figures carrying weapons the Telari had never seen before. A Telari soldier whispered in disbelief. "Who are they?" Varric stared at the tactical feat. Thousands of unknown troops were emerging from the drop pods, and they were immediately attacking the Carvax. Efficient, coordinated, relentless. One of the newcomers raised a weapon and fired. A single shot tore through 3 Carvax soldiers. Another soldier launched a small device that exploded in a blinding flash, disabling an entire Dominion squad. Within seconds, the invaders were under heavy assault. The battle had changed. The comm officer received a new transmission. "Commander," she said, stunned. "We're receiving a signal from the unknown forces." "Put it through." Static crackled. Then a calm voice spoke. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the Terran Expeditionary Forces." Varric blinked. "Terran? We believe you call us humans." The room fell silent. Varric remembered the name. Humans were a relatively new species in the galactic community. Curious, unpredictable, dangerously adaptable. They had never been known as conquerors, but they were rumored to be formidable. Varric leaned toward the transmitter. "Captain Ward, why are you here?" The human captain chuckled softly. "Because someone asked for help." Varric frowned. "No one answered our distress call." "Oh, we heard it," Ward replied. "It just took us a little while to arrive." Outside, the sounds of battle intensified. Human soldiers were spreading through the city, and they were pushing the Carvax back. The Dominion forces were stunned. They had expected helpless prey. Instead, they were facing warriors who fought like storms. Human drop troops moved with terrifying efficiency. They fought in squads of 5 or 6. Each soldier covered the others. Each movement was calculated, deadly. Wherever they appeared, Carvax forces collapsed. Plasma rifles cut through Dominion armor. Portable railguns blasted holes through barricades. And the humans never stopped advancing. One Carvax commander roared in frustration. "What species are these?" His officers had no answer. Within 30 minutes, the humans had stabilized the capital. Within 1 hour, they had pushed the Dominion troops back to their landing zones. And within 2 hours, the invaders were retreating. Varric stood on the fortress balcony again. But now the sky was different. Human warships filled orbit. Sleek gray vessels with angular hulls and glowing engines. The Carvax fleet was withdrawing. For the first time in months, the Telari world was free. Later that evening, Captain Elias Ward arrived at the fortress. He removed his helmet as he entered the command chamber. He looked surprisingly ordinary. Brown hair, calm eyes, a faint smile. "Commander Varric," he said. "Nice planet you've got here." Varric stared at him. "You saved our world." Ward shrugged. "Team effort." "Why?" Varric asked quietly. "Why would humans risk war with the Dominion for us?" Ward looked out the window at the recovering city. Then he answered simply. "Because extinction shouldn't be the price of asking for help." Varric felt something tighten in his chest. The Telari had expected the galaxy to ignore them, to abandon them. Instead, humans had come. From the heavens. Like a storm. Weeks later, the Telari Council held a ceremony in the rebuilt capital. Commander Varric stood beside Captain Ward before thousands of citizens. "The Telari people owe humanity a debt that can never be repaid," Varric said. Ward smiled. "Actually, there is one thing you can do." Varric tilted his head. "What is that?" Ward extended his hand. "Stand with us. Because the Dominion isn't done. And if they come back." He looked up at the sky. "This time we'll be ready." Varric clasped the human's hand firmly. Above them, human and Telari ships now shared the same stars. The war was not over. But the galaxy had changed. Because on the day extinction came for Telari Prime, humans fell from the heavens. And the universe learned something new. Humanity did not watch worlds die. They answered the call. Even if they had to drop from the sky to do it.